So let's simplify the color theory. Ultimately, what we're going to be doing as soon as our client lays down is we need to decide if their skin type is warm or cool. So I want you to grab the color wheel, which is a printout at the start of your modules. Okay, we've got a color wheel right here. In the top right hand corner is yellow, then red, olive, and violet colors. Okay, so once you grab that, then come back. You can stop this video if you need to, but then come back and you're going to actually be physically writing everything on this sheet of paper that I'm doing on the whiteboard, because you're going to be using this with your clients. So once we've decided if your client is warm or cool, okay, and if we cut this color wheel right in half, the right side represents your warm colors, cool side is left side. Once we decide if they're warm or cool, then we need to decide on their undertone. So now if we cut the color wheel in half the opposite way, we have two different undertones in each family. So for our warm family, we have yellow undertones in the skin, which are generally seen behind the ear and down the neck. And we have red undertones. So I actually want you to write this on your paper and cut it in quarters. On the cool side, we have olive undertones, and violet undertones. If you're not familiar with warm or cool skin tones, aside from researching, okay, you can also go to a fabric store and you can get a gold metallic swatch piece of fabric and a silver metallic swatch. It has to have metallic. What you're going to do is you would bring your client to natural light, so to a big window, drape the swatches over their shoulders and lift up from the bottom so that it reflects off the face. If the one that reflects off their face makes them look very vibrant and it's gold, then they're a warm skin tone. But if it washes them out, then they're obviously not a warm skin tone. And when you use the same fabric, the silver one, you're going to notice that one's going to make them look vibrant. So then they would be a cool skin tone. So whichever swatch makes them look vibrant, then we know what family they're in. Then from there, we just need to decide what undertone they are to simplify it. Okay, so let's forget about skin tones for a moment. And I'm gonna go around this color wheel, and because in your kits you guys are using the graceful line, I'm gonna go through and talk about the pigments that are in that line, and then we're gonna pull it all together. So in the graceful line, there's warm and cool pigments as well, okay? And then there's undertones of each family. So the warm pigments with yellow undertones is light brown, and taupe. Put a star near taupe, that's your modifier. Red undertones, brown, dark brown, and maroon. Put a star near maroon, that's a modifier. Our cool pigments with olive undertones, light ash brown, ash brown, dark ash brown, and green green brown. Put a star near green brown. That is your modifier. And then lastly, the violet pigments. Dark ash brown can double as a violet. Black brown. And gray. Put 2 stars near gray. It can be used as a modifier. It can also be used as a straight color. It is the only one that can be used as both. It's an exception to the rule, okay? So for green, brown, taupe, and maroon, you will never ever tattoo somebody with those straight colors. It's used to add depth and undertone to a different color. It's not used to tattoo somebody in full. It would be taupe is very yellow, maroon very red, and green brown obviously very green. The gray, because it is in the gray family, it is actually a brown base gray, so that you can use it. I use it for my more mature clients, 65 plus. Okay, if they're embracing the salt and pepper in their hair, they get away with this gray as a whole on its own, and it's perfect for them because it actually blends with their salt and pepper in their eyebrows. But if I also need to add more blue to a dark ash brown or a black brown, then I can also use it as a modifier. So let's pull this all together. Okay, so let's pretend we put the swatch on our client and they are a warm skin tone. And then I see tons of red. Okay, so if you put your finger on your color wheel, in order to find out the colors that we're going to play with on this client, we actually go completely opposite on the color wheel to find out what colors will harmonize with their skin tone. So on a red undertone for skin, I would tattoo them with a pigment that is light ash brown, or dark ash brown. Okay, so now I'm between 3 colors instead of 11 colors that I can mix a million different ways. Okay, so it really simplifies things. With that being said as well, if somebody is, say, a yellow undertone, okay, and we go completely opposite, dark ash brown, black brown, or gray, it really simplifies this. So you guys are going to use this printout, which you now have a copy in front of you, when your clients are there, so that you don't have to guess what colors to mix. If you think about it, let's pretend that your client was a red undertone, okay? If you tattooed somebody that already has a ton of red in their skin with a red base pigment, they're gonna heal up hot. So it's actually gonna heal up very red or pink, and you're gonna see that you use the wrong color, okay? So that's why we don't stick to this same family, because then you're gonna pull out the yellow in their skin, or the red in the skin, or the violet, or the olive, okay, and so on. Let's talk about mixing now, because we can also modify these colors and create custom blends for our clients. So everything that doesn't have an asterisk is called a base color. You can mix 2 base colors plus 1 modifier. Equals your maximum mixture. So you could never mix 3 base colors. You could never mix 1 base color and 2 modifiers, but you could do 1 base color and 1 modifier, or 2 base colors and 1 modifier, or you could mix 2 base colors and not use a modifier, or sometimes you'll put a color on and it's their perfect color, you don't have to mix. So you could use just 1 base color as well, okay? But your maximum will be 2 plus 1 modifier. Your 2 base colors will have to equal 80% of your mixture, and your modifier will never exceed 20% of your mix. I use my pigment ring and I mentally cut it into quarters So let's say I was using one base color and one modifier. I would fill 75% of my pigment ring plus a little bit more to make it 80, and then I would fill the rest with my modifier, my 20%. I use it as my measuring cup. Okay? Generally, when you're doing two base colors, you would use a 40-40 mix to get 80% and then one modifier at 20%.